Welcome to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a national alliance on mental illness. We are the largest grassroots advocacy network for people with mental illness and their family members, with over 800 national affiliates and 13 Kansas affiliates, with NAMI Wichita being one of those 13. We provide awareness, support, education, and advocacy for people affected by mental illness. Our purpose here is to provide a community conversation on KSUN Radio that gives insight into what it's like to live with a mental illness. Our intention and hope is that our program will change attitudes, assumptions, and stereotypes about people with mental health conditions, and in so doing, we will stop the stigma associated with mental illness. My name is David Larson. I am very pleased and proud to be your host today, and I am a person living with mental illness. I am in recovery for major depressive disorder. Like everyone, I struggle with the ups and downs of emotions and the challenges of being fully human, but I am doing great. And I know I have many gifts to offer my family, my friends, and my community. Now, before I get too far into the program, I want to introduce David Peterson, our executive producer. Hello, David.
Hello, David.
And our technical producer. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, David.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. Okay, so now having said all that, let's go to our guest now, and our guest is Gladys. Hello, Gladys.
Hello, David.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good.
Good.
Well, Gladys, I'm going to start out by asking you the question that I ask everyone, and that is, where were you born and where did you grow up?
Well, that may be a loaded question, but I was actually born in Zimbabwe in Africa.
Really?
I was.
That is awesome.
So, yes. So I was born there and raised up until for about 5 to 7 years, and then we moved. And then since then, moved around. My dad's a pastor, so we moved quite often.
Wonderful.
But, yeah.
Okay, and so where did you graduate from high school?
I graduated in Marion, Kansas.
In Marion, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was the mascot?
What were we? Indians?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Indians. I've
Okay.
been so many mascots in I went to 2 different high schools, 3 different middle schools, so trying to
really?
keep track of what I was. Yeah,
Yeah, that
So,
would be a lot.
it was.
I understand.
was.
My dad was also a pastor, moved around a lot,
Right.
so yeah, I get that. So, okay, well, do you happen to have any hobbies or any pets?
Yes to both. My hobbies are really just, I'm pretty active. I enjoy sports.
Okay.
I do have a family, so of course that's typically the obvious answer, hanging out with my family, my kids.
Okay.
But just from my own wellness, I enjoy just being active in recreational activities, basketball, volleyball.
Okay,
So,
and a shout out to Gladys's kids and family. Hello,
you.
Gladys's kids and family. So, all right, awesome. So, pets.
Yes, I do have a little Maltese, Marley.
Oh,
so
nice.
She's a little 7-pounder who's like one of the kids. So
Excellent. Yeah,
she
four-legged
keeps it-
children.
Yes,
Mhm.
she keeps us all on our toes.
Great. All right. Well, now let me ask you, do you happen to have a family member or friend who has mental illness?
Yes, I do have both family members and some friends.
Okay.
Who have
Do
experienced
you
that.
want to expand on that, or would rather not?
Sure. As far as actually it covers for both family members and friends. I have
Okay.
some that have struggled with some bouts of depression and anxiety and just trying to, deal with life with all the added pressures in society. So I've been pretty involved with both sides
Okay.
of things.
Okay, so now the question may be going through our listeners' minds as to why I have you on the show right now, and you are actually with ComCare, correct?
Correct.
And what is your position at ComCare?
I'm currently one of the program managers for adult rehabilitative services. So within that role, I also hold multiple other roles, and I'm part of several different coalitions.
Okay.
So I'm also part of the Sedgwick County Crisis Intervention Training Team,
Wonderful.
so CIT.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm also part of the Suicide Prevention Coalition. So
Okay.
I
So
active in
yeah,
that.
you have a lot of hats that you're wearing.
Yeah, yeah.
And she came to our studio without a hat, folks. So that's a good thing. So all right. Well, let's see. What else can I ask you here? Let's talk about CIT training.
Sure.
What do you do with the CIT training? Which we've had CIT officers on here before. So go ahead and share with us what you do with CIT training.
Sure. My role is I've been a trainer in assisting the. We have a 40-hour week of training, so I've participated in being a trainer in that. And then just being part of the coalition and brainstorming with several other members of our community how to better equip our law enforcement individuals to know more about mental health and how to work with those who are struggling with mental health symptoms, as well as for us to learn more from that legal perspective as well. That way we can work together more collaboratively.
Okay. Okay. So what does that training entail when you go?
Oh, yeah. So 40-hour training is definitely a lot of work to put together. Different organizations coming in of professionals and consumers and just family members as well. We really try to mix it up to where we can provide that, professional point of view, but then also that experiential piece.
Okay,
Where
I'm going to have to cut you off.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But this is Our Own Voice on Case and Community Radio. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with Gladys. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Our Own Voice is intended to humanize the misunderstood, highly stigmatized topic of mental illness by showing that it's possible and common to live well with a mental health condition. So before the break, Gladys, I had to cut you off because you were on a roll talking about CIT training. So
Yes.
let's go back to that CIT training. So
Sure.
tell us about that, what that entails.
Sure. So our crisis intervention training entails training law enforcement officers, and that varies from correctional setting, jail setting, patrol setting, and it is a 40-hour training that is put on by various entities, not just in the professional sector, but also individuals that have been dealing with mental health illness, and they provide a perspective during that week of training.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To our officers who are in our audience. So it is a really information-enriched week that they participate
now,
in.
From what I understand, is it 1/3 or 2/3 of our police force here in Wichita now are trained? I'm thinking
not
it's
for sure.
I'm
I think
thinking it's
it's-
2/3.
I,
You think it's 1/3? Okay. Well, it's still quite a few people, and more people are being trained each time.
Correct.
And that's what's so awesome about this.
Yes, it's really exciting.
And it's a volunteer program. They're not forced into doing it, but it strengthens their service and helps them understand those of us who have a lived experience. And yeah, that's wonderful. So let's see. Let me double back here and ask, where did you get your training, your degrees, whatever?
Sure. So I received my bachelor's degree from Wichita State in psychology.
Okay.
Then after that, right away, I went on to Friends University for grad school, and my master's is in marriage and family therapy.
Awesome. Okay. So, and I think we were talking to you before the program started, and because of your familial relationships as well as relationships, that's sort of what drove you into this career choice, right?
Yes, definitely. I had started out thinking I would want to be in nursing, kind of go the medical field route, and I had a job in that, and just some life experiences and realizations kind of helped me shift that into wanting to learn more because of some of the things that I had witnessed and experienced within my own family and friends.
Well, I think we are blessed because of that. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. So, what other hats do you wear again?
So I mentioned before our break, in addition to doing the crisis intervention training, that CIT training, I'm also part of the Sedgwick County Suicide Prevention Coalition.
Okay.
So within that, I am also a trainer for the ASSIST training, which is Applied Suicide Intervention Training, which is offered to any members of the community, not just professionals.
Really?
So that's also another tool that we're utilizing to really get the word out there, not only just about suicide, which is really important because of the stigma surrounding it, but we also talk about mental illness in general and how a lot of the individuals that struggle with some of the symptoms obviously end up being at higher risk for suicide and how anyone can support somebody.
Okay, so now about that, what does the training cost?
The cost is $100, and it's a
Okay.
2-day training.
Okay.
And that includes snacks, breakfast,
Oh,
and lunch.
nice.
I like
Okay.
to say that because,
Yes.
in most professional settings, $100 for a 2-day training is not anything.
Yeah.
So we really try to make it be affordable for anyone to participate in it.
Excellent.
And we're working with a lot of different other organizations to raise funds for scholarships for those that are not still able to pay the $100.
Excellent,
So it's really
yes.
exciting that we have a lot of members in our community, not just in the professional world as far as mental health, but just AHR or just churches, anywhere you name it. We've had multiple people come into our training.
And what would be a number that they would need for calling in for registering with that training?
There's a couple numbers. And I think for now, I'll go ahead and I'll give you our crisis number.
Okay.
Because typically when people are wanting that training, it's to kind of enhance more learning or they've had some experience surrounding mental health and suicide. So our crisis number, 660-7500, would be one of the best ways to kind of avoid the call center and all that stuff, but just really be able to right away get myself or my training partner who's at the crisis center.
Okay.
They can give you some information.
All right, so that's 316-660-7500.
Correct.
All right, awesome. Well, let's see, what other hats did we talk about? Oh, boy. Now, see, my memory is not very good. You talked about CIT training. You talked about the suicide prevention. Well, so what does the adult rehabilitation services entail? And actually, let me put that on hold.
Sure.
Because I don't want to run you over again
Okay.
like I did last time. But I will note that we're talking with Gladys, and we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back after these messages.
Our Own Voice is brought to you by NAMI. If you would like to learn more about the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the programs we offer, or get involved, please visit NAMI.org.
Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Now, before the break, I asked you, Gladys, about the adult rehabilitation services. So go ahead and explain that to us, if you would, please.
Sure. So our adult rehabilitative services, they entail several different criteria and services that we offer. One of the main ones is case management, and to obviously get a lot of the different services nowadays, there's a process that you have to go through. But with that being said, case management is a huge piece when you're working with individuals that are dealing with mental illness on a much higher, more intense level. To just have that support out in the community, because navigating the mental health system is quite complex and
Yeah.
can be overwhelming. So we really take pride in having staff that can support individuals to figure out what's the best fit for them and what's out there.
Yeah.
Where do they go?
I know when I was released from Osawatomie, and I came back here to Wichita. I know I had a case manager, so I assume I probably got it through the adult rehabilitative services. I know my case manager helped me with looking for housing, and because I was technically homeless, I was living with friends at the time. So, but housing, also made sure I could fill out paperwork and all that other stuff, which can be mind-boggling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely can. And then in addition to that, you mentioned obviously getting connected to some housing resources, but knowing, what therapy options are out there, what type of med service providers are out there, because not every service is meant for everyone. And sometimes navigating to figure out what's the right fit for an individual can be quite the task, but having some help. Some
Right.
support to kind of figure that out is really crucial in kind of looking at that long-term stability. And that's our goal, is to help people not just in the moment, but long-term. How can we help
Yeah.
set you up for success for that long run?
Yeah, I know, and it was wonderful. I think I had about 9 months of, was it 9 months? It wasn't even 9 months. It was more like 6 months of rehabilitative services
Okay.
with the case manager, and she was wonderful. She was
Good.
absolutely wonderful. So pass on the word if anyone knows a David Larson, excellent kudos to them for their help.
Well, thank you for that feedback.
You bet.
The
And
case managers are so important. My son's had several at Home
Yeah.
Care, and they're so valuable.
yeah, they are. So let's see, what else can I ask you here? So let me throw maybe a big monkey wrench at you or something. Hopefully
All
not.
right.
But what about your work and everything gives hope to the listener? What words of hope do you have that you could share with people, either family members and friends of people living with mental illness, or people with the lived experience?
That is a ranch in there. But I will say, being in the work and having, that connection with those that have struggled, family and friends, it really helps me kind of keep that vision where in one instance I've had family members feel really alone, as if no one cares. So doing the work gives me that first experience of seeing that, no, there are people that care. Sometimes it's easy to feel as if, when you look at the whole political things, the funding and all that stuff, it can
Yeah.
feel really heavy and just really overwhelming, like where you feel like, we're just doomed.
Yeah.
And so I really hope I offer and can kind of shine some light into that. No, despite that happening, that reality happening, there's also an alternative where there are individuals working. They're out there in the streets. The case managers, the doctors, the therapists, the super. I mean, there's different people playing a different part that really impacts an individual's care. So
Yeah.
I think that's been the bigger part.
What work with NAMI have you experienced, or what connections with NAMI have you seen?
We have NAMI individuals involved in the coalitions that I mentioned, the Suicide Prevention Coalition, as well as our Crisis Intervention Training, that's CIT. And most recently, there was a candlelight ceremony that was hosted by NAMI, and I wasn't able to attend, but members of the coalitions that I participate in were involved in partnering and
Yes.
kind of talking more about that and bringing awareness. So that's my experience.
That candlelight service was wonderful, and the speaker that we had, Kevin
Briggs.
right? Yes, he was fantastic. I wish that more people could have been able to make it. So
I do too.
let's see here. What else can I throw at you? Really fast, if we can do really fast. Do you have a hero or heroine in your life?
I think I have several. I don't have just one. I look for different things in different people. So my family members, those that have struggled and that I've seen, go through it and come out on the other side of it. I admire people that have that ability to, stick in it and get that support.
Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to say this is Our Own Voice on Case and Community Radio. We are talking with Gladys, and we are going to take a quick break and be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So, David, here we are at the fourth segment, and I need that wonderful number that is the contact number for NAMI Wichita. What is that number?
Well, that number is 316-686-1373 or 316-686-1373.
Yeah.
And you can call either one of those and you'll get the NAMI information line. Before I go on, though, I want to say that beautiful music that we've been hearing as the intro was composed by our own David Larson.
Thank you.
And it's, to me, very relaxing and just tranquil.
Well, it was created by me at my last hospitalization, and so it was sort of a starting for recovery.
Exactly.
So.
Well, it's very soothing. But the number 316-686-1373. Please call us if you'd like to know more about our NAMI programs. We offer many classes. We have support groups. Everything is at no cost. We feel that we've all received from NAMI and we want to pay back. So please just give us a call. Our support groups are really well attended, and if a person has a family member in crisis, or if you're in crisis living with a mental illness, please try to come to the support groups. I think they would help you. Also, you can check us out on the web, www.namiwichita.org, all one word.
Yeah, and if you want to email us, you can do that at info@namiwichita.org, I believe, correct? All right, so now, Gladys, let's wind things down or wind things up or whatever. What are some last words that we can leave with our listeners? Say about the suicide prevention training or anything like that.
We will actually be meeting soon to get some more dates scheduled out for that ASSIST training I mentioned earlier, the Applied Suicide Intervention
Excellent.
Training, and I'll make sure to provide you all that information so you could share
All right.
with our listeners and whoever else. And then also lastly, to really access any kind of mental health support, I encourage everyone to utilize our crisis number because as I said earlier, navigating the mental health system and just services can be confusing. And ComCare is the largest mental health center in Kansas, and we recognize that. So I think calling our crisis line, because a crisis is different for everyone, it would be the best way to really know which way would be appropriate to access any services that anybody needs.
Exactly, and something that's been done to me and for me, my sister called to have a health check made on me because she was concerned about some of the things that I had posted on Facebook and everything, and she was, so I know she called the crisis call number to get that information so she could do that because she lives out of state.
Oh, wow.
So there's several ways that people can seek help, but
Yes.
the first and foremost is you have to be willing to seek the help.
Yes.
You have to take that step. And that number again, if I can remember, 316-660-7500.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Or as David and everyone else likes to hear, 660-7500, which sounds confusing to me. So let's see. What other questions can I throw at you? Do you have something?
I actually have a question. So,
Okay.
Being that you wear so many hats, and being that you've been I guess, in this program for a long time, what are some of the things that you do by yourself, like to help you, like just ease your mind and like calm you down? Because like you've been in CTI,
CIT.
CIT. You've you just have wear so many hats. So what are some of the things that you do to calm you down?
And that is an excellent question.
Yeah. No, I self-care is really important. Easier said than done.
Yes.
I will be the first to admit that. And for me, participating in those activities I mentioned earlier, I'm really big into sports, so I enjoy playing basketball. I play volleyball, and my family knows, either on Sunday afternoons or Thursday nights, you'll find me at the Y, because that's just what I do, and that doesn't include, my kids and bringing everyone. I mean, they can come and watch, but no matter what, that's what I'm doing. So just small things like that are how I kind of try to keep myself refocused, because that exercise helps me, and I really do just a lot of self-reflecting. I enjoy quiet time. I enjoy my own time to reflect, and there's times where I tell people I need a minute.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I could visualize her as a point guard.
Indeed.
Yeah.
One more quick question: what's your favorite basketball team?
Only because I'm a huge Iverson fan, little person.
Okay, gotcha,
So
yeah.
76ers
Gotcha.
is who I always default to.
The
Excellent.
answer, yes.
Right.
Well, I was going to ask you if you have any favorite Zimbabwe foods from growing up or anything, but instead I am just going to bring us to a close and say thank you for joining us for Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. Thank you to Gladys for talking with us about mental health and mental illness, and join us for our next Our Own Voice program.